If you've ever stepped onto a cruise ship pool deck and wondered why every single chair is taken but nobody's actually swimming, you're not alone, and what I'm about to show you will make so much sense. Today, we're exposing the most annoying cruise passenger behaviors that drive fellow travelers absolutely crazy. And trust me, number one is going to make your blood boil if you've ever experienced it firsthand. Whether you're a first-time cruiser or a seasoned sailor, these are the unwritten rules being broken every single sailing, and knowing them before you board could completely change your vacation experience. The buffet on a cruise ship is a glorious thing. Mountains of food, endless options, and the freedom to eat whatever your heart desires. That is, until the buffet bulldozer arrives. This passenger treats the buffet line like a demolition derby, cutting in front of others, reaching across people without so much as an "excuse me," and piling their plate so high it becomes a structural engineering challenge. They hover impatiently behind you while you are still deciding between the scrambled eggs and the smoked salmon, sighing loudly and shifting their weight from foot to foot. Personal space is a foreign concept to them, and the concept of waiting their turn seems to have been left back at the port. The buffet bulldozer is not necessarily a bad person. They are simply operating on a different frequency, one where hunger completely overrides social awareness. Spotting them is easy. Avoiding them requires strategy. Oh honey, I already know how this one ends, and we are not even halfway through the video yet. The moment I spotted this passenger posted up at the casino bar with their lucky shirt, their lucky hat, and their lucky everything else, I called it. They have been playing the same slot machine for 6 hours straight, convinced they are due for a big win because of some system they read about online. They will lean over to anyone nearby and explain with complete confidence that they have cracked the code. Spoiler alert, darling, the house always wins, and that machine does not know or care about your system. They celebrate near misses like actual victories, order drinks they will not finish, and dramatically narrate every single spin like they are starring in their own Ocean's 11 sequel. The funniest part? They spent the entire shore excursion budget on Tuesday, skipped 2 ports, and are now borrowing Wi-Fi from the pool deck to check their bank balance. But do they look worried? Absolutely not. They look like someone who is about to hit the jackpot any second now. We will check back in at the end of the cruise, but trust me, I already know the ending to this story. Cruise ships have elevators, and cruise ships have people who absolutely cannot wait for those elevators to function normally. The elevator rusher plants themselves directly in front of the doors before they have fully opened, making it physically impossible for anyone inside to exit first. They press the button repeatedly, as though each additional press somehow accelerates the process. They squeeze into a car that is clearly already at capacity, turning what should be a brief vertical journey into an uncomfortably intimate experience for everyone involved. On a ship with thousands of passengers, elevator etiquette becomes surprisingly important, and the rusher manages to disrupt it entirely. The irony is that on a cruise there is genuinely nowhere urgent to be. The ship is not leaving without you. The buffet will still have food. Yet the elevator rusher behaves as though every second counts in ways that simply do not apply to a floating vacation resort. Cruises have a unique social atmosphere that encourages conversation between strangers, which is generally a wonderful thing. And then there is the oversharing stranger, who takes that openness as an invitation to deliver their complete life story, medical history, and family drama before the ship has even left the dock. You sit down for a quiet dinner at a shared table, and within minutes you know about their recent surgery, their complicated relationship with their adult children, and their strong opinions about topics you never asked about. They are not malicious. In fact, they are often genuinely warm and well-meaning people who simply have no internal filter for what constitutes appropriate first conversation territory. Navigating an oversharing stranger requires a delicate balance of kindness and self-preservation, and the skill of gracefully excusing yourself from a conversation becomes one of the most valuable tools you can develop on a cruise. There is genuine sympathy to be had for anyone who experiences seasickness, because it is truly miserable. However, there exists a specific type of passenger who books an ocean cruise knowing they are prone to motion sickness, declines every available remedy, and then spends the entire voyage making their suffering loudly and visibly known to everyone around them. They groan dramatically in public spaces, monopolize the medical staff with complaints that could have been addressed with a simple over-the-counter patch, and somehow seem surprised that the ocean moves. Modern cruising offers patches, wristbands, medication, and ginger remedies that work remarkably well for most people, yet this passenger arrives completely unprepared. The lesson here is simple. If the ocean and your inner ear have a complicated relationship, a little preparation goes an extraordinarily long way toward making the experience enjoyable for both yourself and everyone sharing the ship with you. Most cruise lines designate 1 or 2 evenings as formal nights, a beloved tradition where passengers dress up, enjoy elegant dining, and take photographs that actually make it onto the living room wall. And then there is the formal night rebel who shows up to the main dining room in cargo shorts and a wrinkled t-shirt, seemingly determined to make a statement about their personal freedom. While dress codes are admittedly a matter of preference, there is something about deliberately ignoring a shared social agreement that manages to affect the atmosphere for everyone else at the table. Fellow passengers who spent time and luggage space preparing for the occasion find the contrast a little deflating. The formal night rebel often argues that they paid for their ticket and should wear whatever they please, which is technically true, but so did everyone else at the table who chose to participate in the experience they all signed up for. Shore excursions are one of the greatest joys of cruising, stepping off the ship into a new destination, exploring ancient ruins, snorkeling in crystal-clear water, or wandering through colorful local markets. Every excursion has a departure time, and that departure time exists for a very specific reason. The ship will not wait forever. The excursion latecomer, however, operates on their own personal schedule, strolling back to the meeting point 10 or 15 minutes after everyone else has been standing in the heat, watching the clock with increasing anxiety. Tour guides develop a visible tension in their jaw when the latecomer finally appears, offering a breezy apology and no apparent awareness of the collective stress they just caused. In the most extreme cases, the latecomer misses the ship entirely, which creates a logistical adventure that affects not just themselves, but the crew members responsible for passenger accountability. Punctuality on a cruise is not a suggestion. It is a genuine act of respect for everyone around you. Somewhere between the pool deck and the quiet lounge, you will inevitably encounter the loud phone talker. This passenger conducts full-volume personal and professional conversations in every shared space imaginable, apparently unaware that the rest of the ship can hear every detail of their business negotiations, family arguments, and weekend plans. They pace the corridors at midnight, voice echoing off the walls. They sit in the library, yes, the library, speaking at a volume that suggests the person on the other end is located on a different continent without the benefit of modern telecommunications. The loud phone talker is a product of a world where private conversations have slowly migrated into public spaces, but on a cruise ship, where relaxation is the entire point, their presence feels especially jarring. A gentle reminder about shared spaces occasionally works, but more often than not, the loud phone talker simply does not register that their volume is anything other than completely normal. In the theater, at the live show, during the comedian's set, or at the movie screening on the upper deck, the chair kicker finds you. It does not matter where you sit, front, back, middle, aisle, or center. The chair kicker will be directly behind you, rhythmically tapping, nudging, and occasionally full-on kicking the back of your seat with the casual consistency of a metronome. Children are the most frequent offenders, but adults are not entirely innocent either. The chair kicker is rarely doing it with any awareness or intention. It is simply a physical habit that their body defaults to when seated for extended periods. Turning around and making polite eye contact sometimes solves the problem temporarily. A quiet word to a parent or companion can help. But in many cases, the kicking resumes within minutes, and you are left to decide whether to relocate or simply accept the rhythmic percussion as an unexpected addition to the evening's entertainment. Every cruise produces breathtaking moments worth capturing: a golden horizon at sea, a dramatic port arrival, a perfectly plated dinner. The unsolicited photographer, however, has decided that their photographic vision takes absolute priority over everyone else's physical space and experience. They step directly in front of you, mid-conversation, to capture a shot. They ask you to move from a spot you have been sitting in for 20 minutes because it interferes with their composition. They spend an entire excursion with a camera or phone raised in front of their face, occasionally bumping into fellow passengers without apology because their peripheral vision has been entirely sacrificed to content creation. The truly advanced version of this passenger travels with a ring light, a tripod, and a partner who functions exclusively as a photography assistant, transforming shared public spaces into impromptu personal studios. Documenting a vacation is a beautiful impulse. It is the complete disregard for everyone else in the frame that turns it into something considerably less charming. Cabins on cruise ships are stacked vertically, which means the person above you has a direct acoustic relationship with your ceiling. The midnight stomper is the passenger in the cabin directly overhead, who, for reasons that defy all logic, chooses the hours between 11 at night and 2 in the morning to conduct what sounds like an enthusiastic furniture rearrangement project. Drawers slam, shoes drop one at a time with a dramatic pause between each. Suitcases are dragged across the floor with the energy of someone preparing for an immediate departure. The midnight stomper is not doing any of this intentionally. They are simply unaware of how dramatically sound travels through the floors of a ship. Earplugs help. A call to guest services sometimes results in a polite knock on their door. But the midnight stomper remains one of the most reliably disruptive forces in the entire cruise passenger ecosystem, capable of unraveling an otherwise perfect night of sleep with a single well-placed footstep. After encountering 12 types of passengers who test your patience in various ways, it is almost refreshing to meet the know-it-all veteran. Almost. This is the passenger who has sailed on this exact ship, this exact route, and this exact cruise line more times than they can count, and they want you to know it. They correct the cruise director during trivia. They tell the sommelier which wine pairs better with the fish. They explain to first-time cruisers, at considerable length and without invitation, everything they are doing wrong and everything they should be doing instead. The know-it-all veteran is not entirely without value. Their knowledge of the ship's layout, the best dining times, and the hidden gems on board is genuinely useful information. The delivery, however, leaves something to be desired. There is a version of this passenger who shares their expertise warmly and generously, and that version is one of the best people you will meet at sea. The other version simply reminds you that experience and self-awareness do not always travel together.